I've said to you many times over the 40 years I've been studying these scriptures and comparing with the original, the NASB consistently is the best translation of the Old and New Testament. It isn't as popular because it doesn't flow like the King James or the New King James. It's a little bit stilted in its attempt to remain with the original. That doesn't mean that the others are bad, I'm not saying that. But the NASB is my go-to on things like this. You always have the argument of which original texts are used, especially in the Hebrew and the Old Testament. In the Greek, it's more of an issue because you could have doctrinal issues, doctrinal differences between copies of the Greek manuscripts, but you really don't. Nothing is affected by the copies of the manuscripts, which family you take. The King James and New King James are based on the Textus Receptus, which is one family of Greek manuscripts from the Holy Land today, the Byzantine text. Other translations, like the NIV, NASB, most of the other modern ones, are based on the Alexandrian or the Northern Egyptian texts, which they believe are older than the ones that the King James is based on. Therefore, if they're older, they're not copied as often. If they're not copied as often, there aren't as many errors. That's the rationalizing. But we don't do that. When we study the original in seminary, we learn how to read the apparatus so that we can compare these manuscript copies in the context, especially in the Greek. It's very important. This is a very precise language chosen by God because our doctrines are detailed, and Greek is a very detailed language, the language of medicine and so on. You weigh the age of the manuscript, if it's a different reading, against whether it fits in the context or whether it's obvious that somebody just stuck it in there. And there are a few times when you can see that. Most of the time, these different readings, whether it's an older or newer manuscript, are the interpolation of words and phrases that have nothing whatever to do with doctrine. In fact, there are none of them that I know that have to do with doctrine, which is the Lord's Word. But as far as actually expounding the text and understanding what's being said, it's important. That's why we learn the original languages, and we still do at ILC. Most seminaries don't, and if those that do don't go into it as far or spend as much time on it. It is important. It's not just a scholarly exercise for people that want to sit around and cogitate, nothing like that.